Okay, so you're falling asleep during a lecture and don't know anything. Calm down, calm down, calm down. Listen to everything I'm going to tell you and accept that there are no guarantees in life, especially now. Because, well, hey, wake up, wake up. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about what he's talking about. 3/5 compromise. Alright, before we talk about how horrible people in math were back in 1787, to first discuss the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. So this first happened in Philadelphia in 1787. At first, we wanted to amend the Articles of Confederation. Eventually, we just tossed that out and started new. One of the compromises that occur before the 3/5 compromise is the Great Compromise, or the Connecticut Compromise. This created a bicameral legislature, which separated a House and a Senate. Each state sent 2 senates. So small states are like, I love it. And we have a House of Reps based on population, and the large states are like, I love it. So now we get even closer to the 3/5 compromise. So in order to determine states' representation for the House of Reps, we have to know their population. We just gots to know it. Gots to know it. So the Constitution sets that every 10 years, we do what is called a census, where we just go 1, 2, 3.
There's 100,000 people in Georgia.
Now we have more like 3 million, roughly. So this population determines one of 2 things. Not just the number of taxes a state will pay due to its population, and that's a downfall, but also this directly correlates with the 3/5 compromise. Their population determines how much representation they get in the House of Reps. Getting really sick of saying the word representation and reps. And that means how many congressmen they can send to DC to represent their interest of their state. And so the controversy we see here isn't between big states and small states, but between northern and southern states. Specifically, how do we count slaves? Southern states don't want to count them as real people or as population because that hurts them in taxes and makes sure they're treated as property. However, if it comes down to representation, they're here like, and I'm so done, they're all like, slaves are people too. Now, why would these farmers, Men's Warehouse looking ass people, talk like that? Why, you ask? Because the more population you get, the more representation you get, which is the more power you get in Congress. The North states are more like, hell no. Slaves aren't people, slaves don't count, they never have and they never will. Just because more slaves you have equals more power, and the North has no slaves at all. So by the end of the day, the fraction that we get, and I get nauseous as I say the term, is a 3/5 fraction compromise. For every time we do the census, which we just discussed earlier, we are going to count 5 slaves as 3 people. So 5 slaves are... you know what? Just look at this. Oh my gosh. So 5 slaves were the equivalent to 3 people. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep that tabbed. And those people can be counted for your census, which goes to your population, which you can use to get representation off them. So the painfully ironic part in all of this is that the South is going to get representation from their slaves, just to turn their backs to send representation to Congress in order to keep their slaves. Wow, yeah, I know. Crazy, right? If we never had the 3/5 compromise, there's actually a good chance most of American history would be different. Thomas Jefferson, for example, probably wouldn't have won the election of the 1800s. The Indian Removal Act most likely would not have happened. Andrew Jackson would not have been able to veto the National Bank. And to conclude, we most likely would not have had our compromises that would push the Civil War back for another 50 to 60 years or so. In conclusion, the 3/5 compromise is pretty darn important when it comes down to understanding not only the Constitution, and the Convention and Compromise, but also really, and I kind of believe, sectionalism and the Civil War. So to break it all down, through his compromise, for every 5 slaves we count as 3 people, which can go as you being taxed, and your representation in Congress. Of course, this goes away during the 13th Amendment later, which nullifies it. And to conclude, I just want to say thank you for watching, and now your brain is a little bit bigger since you pressed play. And have a great day. Thank you.